I made $7,000 on an offer I hadn't even created yet. But before that, I spent months pouring my heart into a different offer that I thought was going to sell off the charts. But when it launched, I made $0. I'm being so serious. I made nothing. I even started to give it away for free because no one was buying it. And right now, you are sitting on an idea, you're tweaking it, you're perfecting it, you're constantly adding new things, you're waiting to launch it until it's ready. I need you to hear me when I say this. You're never going to feel ready. And it's not being strategic. You are hiding. And the person, your dreamiest client that God has called you to serve, is waiting for you to stop building in private and start selling in public. In this video, I am showing you exactly how I sold an offer before it ever existed, the 3 tactics that I used to make it work, and why this strategy is the one that God is calling you to use in this season. And welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Mikaela, and on this channel, we talk all about business, faith, lifestyle, growing your business with God at the center, having a founder-led brand that is profitable, omnipresent. And if you want to spend more time with me, more than just on YouTube, you can go check out my podcast, Business Redefined, on all podcast platforms, or you can hop in Voice of Conviction, a 10-day experience where you learn how to build a profitable, founder-led brand, build high demand for your offers, and strengthen your authority through the power of your voice. Let's get right into this video. First off, I just want to shout out Belinda because she commented on one of my videos and she shared how she launched an offer and it did not sell. And that is what sparked this conversation that we're having right now and why I'm sharing with you my tactics, my strategies, my tools, because I felt that pain before. I know how you feel. I've worked with a lot of women in business, whether they were beginners, women who are making 100K days, 100K months. I'm finding that there is a common mistake that a lot of people are operating in, and they think that they need to have a perfect offer before launching. And that is not the case. There are so many different ways and strategies you can sell an offer without having to create it first, which is what we are going to be talking about today. And I'm so excited about it because I am so passionate about strategy and about making things easier on myself so that I can produce a better result and transformation for the people that I am called to serve. And when I'm referencing sell an offer before it's ever created, yes, this works for both digital and physical offers. So if you didn't know, yes, I have an e-commerce brand made by the word where I sell luxury Christian journals. I have programs that help women launch their own physical products, but this strategy today is not for the physical product side. This is for the digital offer side. So if that is something that you want me to talk about in the future or go deep into, definitely leave a comment below so that I can cover that topic. So the first digital program that I ever created was called Pod You're Proud Of. The transformation was that you were going to create a podcast in 30 days. I had the lived experience. I had launched a podcast that went global within the first week. I've 5 stars still to this day, and it continuously blessed people. They would message me out the wazoo. I knew how to grow it. I knew how to scale it. And I thought that's what people wanted from me because I would have, random questions here and there. And so it just sparked the idea like, oh, I could make an offer on this. So I sat down. I spent months making this because I was teaching literally everything from filming to ideation to vision to designing your cover to editing the podcast, making it easy for people to understand. And by the time I actually launched it, no one bought it. One, because I never talked about it, didn't know the strategies I know now. I made so many mistakes and I just don't want that for you. And so I want to share this because it is so powerful. It is so transformational. And so when I utilized a different strategy that God showed me, I made 7,000 before I ever created one lesson, one module. And this is something with the clients that I work with, especially the amazing founders and leaders inside the inner circle, that I still have to help them because they think that they need to make this offer first, or sometimes they're making the offer first out of avoidance because they don't want to sell something and then it not sell. So they'd rather just take time creating it, hoping that it sells later. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. We're walking in boldness. We're moving in a founder-led identity, a God-given mission, and that's going to cause you to have to do the uncomfortable thing. And that means to not make a decision out of procrastinating, avoidance, hiding, any of the above. So this is a 3-part strategy. And step 1 is validating first, building second. So what this looked like is not only did I really sit down with God and he told me, okay, I want you to launch an offer on how to build a printed product, how to create a journal, a planner, a workbook that actually sells. Because most people know how to create these products, but they don't know how to actually sell it and sell it well and create something that's very aesthetic, luxury. And so because God told me this, I just want to tell you right now that I ran from it for a very long time because I didn't want to do it. But sometimes God calls us to do things that we don't necessarily want to do or feel qualified to do. But then when we actually do it, we're like, oh, I love this, or oh, I am qualified for this. And so the whole point of this section of validating first, building second is like, 1, God validated that within me. And that's what led me to initially start seeking out the external validation that I'm referencing. And so what this looked like is I started to take note on my social media. I'm seeing that a lot of people are starting to ask me questions about my own luxury journals where they would say, where did you get a manufacturer? Like, what's the difference between doing Amazon and the manufacturer? And asking me just all these questions. And so something that I do as a founder who just really cares about my community and my audience is every single time someone asks me a question, I put it inside of a tracking document. And so at the time, I was looking at all the questions that I was getting, and I was getting more questions on printed products than I was about, content strategy at the time. And so because I made this reference, because God already validated it within me about what he wanted me to do, I then was like, okay, I'm just going to start planting the seed. So what I started to do was on my social media, when someone would ask me a question, I would say, hey, is this something that you would like me to make a program on? Or I've been thinking about launching this kind of offer. Is this something that you would be interested in? So I made sure that I started planting seeds very, very early. Then I started planting seeds publicly, and I made sure that I was talking to the right person, the right buyer. And this is something to keep in mind and continuously audit and check yourself, whether you're at the beginning of business or you're further along, is really understanding specifically who you're talking to, because talking to a beginner is a different type of messaging than you talking to someone who is experienced in business. And so my clientele right now is someone who is more experienced. Like, I'm helping them take what they've already built and making it better. Whereas in the beginning, back then, I was more focused on the beginner. And so my messaging was a little different, and I knew that. And so I was really crystal clear on what that looked like for me. So once I started planting those seeds through DMs, through actual conversations, I started seeding it through my Instagram stories. I started seeding it through my YouTube videos. I even made YouTube videos sharing, how I created my product, which then, allowed me to be like, hey, you want to sign up for a wait list? You can sign up for the wait list. So once I validated, I found my distinct angle, because yes, I knew that they said that they wanted it, but I've been there before. So I wanted to double check and ensure that I knew the promise of the offer, because I'm not just going to sell something and I don't even know how to explain it. So I knew the promise of the offer, and that was that you were going to create a printed product in 30 days. I was going to take your idea, I was going to bring it to life in just 30 days. So I knew that. Another distinct angle about myself that is different than most people is that 1, I already have an e-commerce brand. 2, I have a business background. 3, I've launched a physical product through Amazon, and I've launched a physical product through a manufacturer. So I know both ends of the spectrum. And this is something that I knew was going to be a super powerful, differentiator from everyone else in the industry who has some kind of offer on launching a printed product. So once I had all of this figured out, which really wasn't that much, I figured out the name of the offer, which, by the way, you don't even need to know the name. Like, that's not even that important. You're basically selling people on the idea and the transformation, but you you don't have to know exactly what that transformation looks like, because they can help you build it as you're moving forward, depending on the type of offer that it is. So just for example, you can launch an offer that's meant to be like a core signature offer in your brand, in your business, but incorporate a live mastermind element to it, which is actually what I'm about to do for my new offer, which is all about building a founder-led brand to grow and escalate the acceleration of your business. So all you really need to understand and know is the core promise of the offer, the transformation that it's going to provide, and then have a checkout page. Yes, you can have a description in it or not. You don't even need a sales page. Like, I'm telling you, all I had was a link for someone to check out with. So that leads me into step number 3, announce it and launch it. So because I had already spent all that time seeding the offer, making content about the offer, having private conversations about the offer, by the time I launched it, people were ready to purchase. And the truth is, they may or may not have known that I did or did not create the offer yet, but I hadn't even created anything. So whenever I launched it and I had them pay the checkout, I said the program was going to be available to them in 1 month, and that each week was going to be live launched. So I paced it where every single week more modules became available. This also gave me time to get feedback on the modules I already did and allowed me to make changes based on whatever needs that they were having so that they could help me co-create this program. So my whole point of everything that I'm saying is there's so many innovative, strategic plays and strategies that you can utilize to sell your offer when you sell it in public, but you're not going to know if it's going to sell if you don't try to sell it first. This is why validation by seeing if someone purchases is so important, because what I'm not going to do even to this day is film something and then hope that someone's going to buy it. No, I'm going to sell it first. If even one person buys it and invests in it, oh, I'm going to make it. It's worth my time, because we have the mistake sometimes as humans of thinking we know what people want when it's not actually what they want, which is why you have to take so much time in really understanding your buyer. So if you're someone who is currently creating an offer, you've already started on it, you spent months on it, you're continually adding new things, just know that even to this day, I have printed product to profit and I want to go back and add more things. But I know that what I have to offer already is powerful because women have already received so many transformations from it. They've already gotten wholesale orders from their products. And it's like, I know that this offer did what it needed to do. So I really pray that this blessed you, that you got the insight and the revelation that you need to move forward and how to approach this differently. Again, if you have any other questions in the comments, just let me know. If there's a topic you want to cover, let me know. I would love to create a video on it and just share and pour out all the wisdom and knowledge that I have. So thank you so much for being here. I want you to subscribe and make sure you watch the next Founder Diaries video because I promise it's going to bless you. Okay, I love you. Bye.